Hey folks, welcome back to the Angler's Footprint. In today's episode, we talk all things Randy Blaukat, Rick Clunn still hurting feelings at 80, forward-facing sonar, and whether or not it's really going to be the end of bass fishing as we know it. Let's cast a line and get into it. All right, folks, so based on the intro, you know where this is going. And listen, I wasn't going to do another video on forward-facing sonar, but after what I saw the other day from Randy Blaukat, talking about how Rick Clunn needs to watch his mouth and whatever, I figured I'd give a listen to both sides of the barrel on this one, right? So you got Randy Blaukat's side, which is all about forward-facing sonar is the devil. It's ruining the sport. It's taking away the integrity and the mystery and the intuitiveness in bass fishing. And then on the other side, if you haven't seen it, Mercer had Clunn on last week, and he talked about how people, not Randy in particular, but Randy took it as a personal attack, talking about forward-facing sonar being labeled a cheater box, and anyone that's using it is it in fact a cheater. So I guess we'll just start off with this. Regardless of what side of the fence you're on when it comes to forward-facing sonar, I think there's room for both sides of the argument. But what we can't do, and what's happening now, is nobody's being respectful about it. Name calling and, just stabbing back and forth at each other. I personally don't care whether you like it or not. I enjoy it. I think it's fun to use. I think it has taught me more about bass behavior than anything in the history of the time I've been fishing. I think Kevin Van Dam said it the best when he said, all the things that we thought we knew about bass fishing, we didn't really know. And it's rang really true with the advent of forward-facing sonar. But what I'll say is, it just isn't cool to personally attack another person because their opinion is different than yours. It's the beauty of the world we live in. We're allowed to have an opinion. And if we can't have an opinion and express that opinion without getting attacked, what are we doing? So, I guess, long story short, I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments, but don't leave cruel comments. As much as I disagree with most of what Randy Blaukat stands for, I still respect his opinion. I just don't have to agree with it. Now, I wrote some stuff down to make sure I didn't miss some of the points that I wanted to talk about. And maybe this is more of an answer to Randy's video than it is anything else. I'll link his video in the description, so you can go take a look at it if you want to, and come up with your own opinion. But one of the things that he said in that video was that tech has no part in bass fishing, which I think is just a hilarious comment, a hilarious position to take. Bass fishing has evolved to where it is largely because of the tech. Whether that's the bass boat that you're in, the motors you run, the trolling motors and how they have evolved over the years, all the way up to where they are now being a brushless design that uses less battery power, the creation of spot lock to allow yourself to GPS anchor your boat in the wind and put you in a position to fish more efficiently than you ever could before. The introduction of power poles to hold you in a spot when you're fishing for, fish you can see, or flipping lily pads or grass lines. Tech has largely been a huge catalyst for the growth of the sport, and it will continue to be that way. Randy himself has benefited from all of this technology. So I think it's just a case of him picking what he likes, picking what he doesn't like, and then really stand for those things that he doesn't like. And I guess that's okay, but if you're going to complain about technology and making bass fishing far more video game-like, then I think you need to stand on that with everything. That includes the graphs that we have now, Humminbird 360, all the things that enable us to do something today that we couldn't 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Now, the comment that he made about, that really sparked it off, was Rick Clunn talks about people calling it a cheater box, therefore saying that everyone is using it is a cheater. And I think Rick's exact words were, it's a sick way. It's just something that sick people are doing to justify what their stance is. Now, I will say this in Blaukat's defense. I've watched a lot of his videos about forward-facing sonar, and I don't know that he's ever called anyone a cheater, but he has certainly called it a cheater box. And I think in doing that, you are, in a way, calling people who use it a cheater. Whether that's what you intended to do or not is irrelevant. If you call something a cheater box, you are in fact calling the people that use it a cheater. It's just the nature of the game of word association. I think there is so much misinformation out there around forward-facing sonar that, good or bad, it's kind of getting a bad rap. You got Randy on this side talking about how it's going to adversely affect the fish population in the future when there's really no scientific data to back that up. And then you've got the people on this side that talk about all the things that forward-facing sonar has brought to the sport. And I think the reality is somewhere in the middle, right? Like, I don't think it's going to have the massive adverse effect on the fish population that Randy thinks. And the reason I think that is you take a look at a lot of the bodies of water out here that have really been hit hard with the advancements of forward-facing sonar. And for the most part, all those bodies of water are still very strong. Like, we're not wiping out fish populations. Bass fishing in general has kind of a high mortality rate, right? And it's because we're lugging around fish in a live well. Now, I think a lot goes into the care of the fish. And, Randy's point was bringing fish up from deep water where they, haven't generally been targeted, and the barotrauma that comes of it. But we've been dealing with that for years. It's the reason why fizzing exists. It's the reason why you can go out and buy a fizzing kit to help relieve that barotrauma from the fish when you put them in the live well, increasing their ability to live when we release them. So I don't think that there's going to be a massive decline in fish population because of forward-facing sonar. Now, I will say that people certainly catch more fish because of it. I've caught more fish because of it. And if there's an angler out there that tells you they haven't caught more fish because of it, I would tell you they're probably lying. But I don't think it makes it easier. And we'll get into that in a little bit as to why I think that. But yeah, it certainly helps. I mean, that's what technology is made for. When you think about the tournament world, you know, Blaukat said that he used NPFL as an example about, well, if forward-facing sonar is so good, why did the NPFL ban it? Well, I think they banned it because there was a call for a tournament that doesn't use it. And I think we live in a world where that is needed. I think if you love forward-facing sonar, there's a trail for you. If you hate it, there's a trail for you. If you're kind of indifferent, Bass uses it for half of their tournaments. The other half, you can't use it. So when he makes the argument that you can't be competitive without it, it's wrong. And we'll get into that a little while later, because you can certainly be competitive without it. And I've got some data and some facts to back that up. One of the other things he said was that there are hundreds of thousands of people that hate the technology. Yeah, maybe. But there's also hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that love the technology. So I'm not sure what he was trying to get at there. But he did bring up a lot of his followers agree with him. Well, of course, Randy, they're your followers. They're going to agree with you. That doesn't mean that you're right. Just as many people love it, probably more, than hate it. There's an old saying that the silent minority feels stronger than the vocal majority. There's a reason for that, because people like to bitch and complain. And they're loud, but it doesn't make them the majority. I don't even know what the number is, and I really don't care, because I think there's a place for both. So what I was talking about earlier, Randy said it creates an unlevel playing field or a financial disparity. And I kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, but no, it doesn't. And there is nothing you can say to me that would convince me that it creates an uneven playing field. Long before the advancement of forward-facing sonar, he said the last 3 years, forward-facing sonar has been out for 10 years, but even before forward-facing sonar was a thing, they were spending, and they still are, $100,000 plus on a bass boat. Trolling motors are $5,000 anymore. Graphs are incredibly expensive. Some of the units they put on those boats are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 units. Anyone can afford forward-facing sonar. Anyone. You can go out and get the unit that I run, the Lowrance Eagle Eye 9, which is like a bare bones forward-facing sonar and graph. It's a 9-inch graph for under $1,000. You don't need a 20-inch graph to be able to compete. You can compete with a 10-inch graph. I've done it. Not the level Randy has. I get that. But I've placed high and won some tournaments with bare bones equipment. I came in third last year in a nationwide Guggen Squad tournament and won the grand prize with bare bones equipment. So you absolutely can compete. It does not create an uneven playing field. It does not create a financial disparity any more than any of the tech that we have. I hate that that gets used. It's the one that drives me the craziest. It's making it a rich man's sport. It's always been a rich man's sport. Always. So, one of the next thing he talked about was forward-facing sonar being a shortcut to success. If they don't use it, they can't compete. And I already told you that's absolutely bullshit. Just take a look at the last few, even just the last few Bassmaster tournaments. The kids that have been labeled scopers that can't compete without live scope. Even in the last one, top 20, multiple kids. I call them kids, younger anglers. That finished in the top 20, and it was a no forward-facing sonar tournament. Yes, you can compete. I promise you, you can compete. No, not all those kids need it. Do some of them need it? Has it helped some of them? I'm sure it has. But it's available to everyone. They all can use it, or they all don't have to. But again, it's not a shortcut to success. You still have to understand all the things that Randy talked about in the video. So one of the points he made was that forward-facing sonar has taken away the need to understand weather patterns, fish movement, seasonal patterns, like all the things that are innate to bass fishing. Wrong. He acts like you put forward-facing sonar on the front of your boat and fish jump in. That is not the case. You could spend so much time driving around a lake with your forward-facing sonar just looking for fish and never find them. You've got to know where to look, why you're looking there. You have to. You got to know. If you don't understand seasonal patterns, movements of bass, how weather affects it, shoreline, structure, if you don't understand all of that stuff, I don't care how many forward-facing sonars you strap on the front of your boat, it's not going to help you become a better fisherman. It's not going to help you find bass, the quality of bass, to win a tournament. It's not going to happen. He kind of said that it wasn't a skill set too, which is kind of funny, because if it wasn't a skill set, wouldn't everybody be rock stars at it? Wouldn't they all find those winning fish, those 20-pound bags every tournament, every day of the tournament? It's a skill set, Randy. You may not like the skill set, but it's an art. It's a skill set. One of the things that cracked me up was he was talking about how, you know, the kind of the reference to video game fishing, right? And what he said, and it's not quite an exact quote, but he said you can cast your line out, you can bring it by the blip on the screen, and you set the hook before you even feel the fish. Randy, come on, dude, you're better than that. Nobody's out there setting the hook before they feel the fish. You always make sure you feel the fish bite before you set the hook. Silly rabbit. Come on, dude. Do better. He talked a lot about people that support forward-facing sonar demonizing the folks that don't. The folks that hate it. But isn't it just as bad the other way around, Randy? You argue and bitch and complain and tell people that like forward-facing sonar why they're wrong. Both sides do it. Be awesome if we'd stop and just have a good conversation about it, but we can't do that because we all got to be in this big pissing match of who's right, who's wrong. Man, can we just have both? I think we can. He used the word self-centered in one of his comments. He said that everyone who supports forward-facing sonar does so out of a self-centered point of view. And it's all about me, me, me. Nah. It's about us. It's about my kids. It's about my buddies. It's about everyone. It's about your right to pick something that you want to pick, like it or don't like it. It's not about me. It's not even about you. You want to make it about you, but it's not about you. Technology is awesome, and it's only going to get better. I can't wait to see what's next. We can have a discussion about whether it belongs in tournament fishing. That's fine. And I've told you my thoughts. But it's not about me. You know, when you look at, and like I said, I'll link the videos in the comments, but he took a lot of offense to the things that Rick Clunn said. And I think I have a good feeling as to why. But I'm not going to speak to why Randy feels the way he feels. But what I will say is Clunn never said his name. Not once. Didn't even insinuate the name Randy Blaukat. He just said people. Usually when you get offended by what somebody says, even though they don't mention you, it's usually a sign there's a little bit of guilt in there. So I would just tell Randy, look inside, buddy. Rick didn't say your name, he wasn't talking to you. I'd ask you why you're so butthurt by it. I think I know the answer. And I think Rick said the answer pretty well. To wrap up some of the stuff that Randy said and just kind of put a bow on that part of it, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Clunn side. There's a couple of points. Number one is like it or don't like it. It's perfectly fine. There's a world where people can live in where both exist, and there's tourneys out there for both sides of the fence. If you like forward-facing sonar, there's a trail out there for you. Go fish it. If you don't, there's a trail out there for you. Go fish that one. And the second thing is, stop just being so damn mean to each other. Everyone has an opinion. You're free to express it. But come on. Come on. Just be nice about it. So there's a couple of quotes that Clunn had that I'm going to touch on specifically, because I really thought it put a nice bow on how I felt when I watched both of those videos. One of the comments he made was that success breeds resentment. And boy, is he right. If you don't have haters out there, you are doing it wrong. That is the nature of the business. People are going to say mean things to you. You got to have thick enough skin to brush it off. Takes a lot to hurt my feelings. I try not to let it happen. Every once in a while, like Randy, it gets the best of me. But success breeds resentment. There has never been a truer phrase. So what I'd ask you is the same thing Rick did. Does negativity come from success, or does it come from a lack of success from those who are complaining? I'm just going to leave it right there. But I'll say this. The ones that are barking the loudest are the ones that are getting their butts kicked the most. Kind of rings true, doesn't it? You notice I didn't spend a lot talking about what Clunn said, because that was really all he said. He brought up the term cheater box. He talked about why it's not cheating. But he didn't pick on Blaukat. He didn't pick on anyone. He just said the negativity has to stop. And I firmly agree. I do think it's funny that at however old Rick Clunn is, 80 years old, he's still hurting bass fishermen's feelings. And I love that. I'd be curious to know what you thought if you watched Blaukat's video and watched Mercer's video. Like I said, I'll link them in the comments. But please, if you have time, go back and watch them. Let me know what you think. As always, I really appreciate you guys dropping by. I hope you like the video. I hope you like the series. It's getting received really, really well. We've got some fun stuff coming up here soon. I'm going to continue to drop videos at least once or twice a week. If there's something you want to see or something you want me to cover, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. Until next time, tight lines.